This video was produced by the UCD Maths Support Centre in conjunction with the UCD Access Centre. Now we'll just do a slightly more involved question where we are asked to find the equations of the lines through the point 4,3 that make an angle of 45 degrees with the line 6x plus y minus 5 equals 0. So, whenever we're asked to find the equation of a line, there are two bits of information we need. We need a point on the line and we need our slope. We have a point on the line. We're told that we want equations of lines through the point 4,3, but we don't know what the slope is. So the slope is our question mark here. And we'll call that slope M2, because what we want is for the line that we find to have an angle of 45 degrees to a given line 6x plus y minus 5 equals 0. So let's call the slope that we want M2, and we can find our M1 just by getting the slope of the line given, 6x plus y minus 5 equals 0, just by using again our minus a over b, and we find that M1 is minus 6. So then we can fill in our formula for the angle between two lines, but the missing information that we have this time is not our angle theta, but our M2 is what we're looking for. So every time M2 is written, we will just leave that as it is because that's our unknown. Our theta, we're told, is 45 degrees. We want a 45 degree angle between the two lines, so our theta is 45 degrees. Our M1, as we said, is 6. So once we fill in all those values and simplify it down a little bit, we'll get to this point here. Tan of 45 degrees is just 1, that is equal to plus or minus this fraction here. If we multiply both sides by this denominator, 1 minus 6m2, just to get rid of our fraction, we have this equation here. And then obviously 1 times 1 minus 6m2 is just 1 minus 6m2 itself. And then we have two solutions because of this plus or minus here. We have 1 minus 6m2 is equal to plus times minus 6 minus m2, which we'll just leave it as it is, or 1 minus 6m2 is equal to minus this whole bracket here, which will change the signs inside this bracket from minus to plus. So then we just go through both of these equations to find what M2 is, and we find on the left here that our M2 is 7 over 5, so the slope of one of our lines that satisfies the conditions given in the question has a slope 7 over 5. The other has a slope minus 5 over 7. So we'll end up with two different equations. Equation 1, where M2 is 7 over 5. And of course our point was 4,3. So that gives us our x1 and our y1, filling in the equation for a line which is just y minus y1 is equal to m, our slope, times x minus x1. So we fill this in with m2 being 7 over 5, and our x1 and y1 given by this point here, and we get the equation 7x minus 5y minus 13 equals 0. In equation 2, our M2 is minus 5 over 7, and our point again is the point 4,3. So once we fill those values again into this formula here, we end up with the final solution that in this case our equation is 5x plus 7y minus 41 equals 0. And those two answers there are the final answer to this question.